Okay, so get ready because today we're diving into a story.
Oh, yeah.
It's
I love this one.
it's a wild one.
Yeah.
It's a true crime story.
Mm-hmm.
So wild it's practically ripped from the headlines.
It is.
Well, actually, it was ripped from the headlines
Huh.
because it became a Hollywood movie.
Oh, yeah, it did.
They're talking about Bernie Tiede,
Gurney.
the charming funeral director
Yes.
who befriended a wealthy widow named Marjorie Nugent
Mm-hmm.
back in the 1980s
80s small town Texas.
in small-town Texas.
Yes.
But this isn't your typical whodunit.
No.
This deep dive is going to take us into these murky waters
Murky Waters is right.
of perception
Yes.
and manipulation,
Totally.
where a seemingly good guy
Uh-huh.
might just have a dark side.
Absolutely.
We're going to unpack Bernie's past,
Okay.
the whispers that swirled around him,
Yes.
and how a famous director
Oh, yeah.
turned this twisted tale
Ah.
into a dark comedy.
What's so compelling about this case is it really makes you question everything you think you know about people.
Right.
You know, can someone be both deeply kind and capable of something truly shocking?
Yeah.
I think this deep dive will really challenge those assumptions for you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And let's start with Bernie's early life.
Okay.
We know that he had a difficult childhood,
Yeah.
but I'm curious to go beyond the surface level here.
Right.
The source material mentions losing his parents at a young age and even alleged abuse.
Heavy stuff.
Yeah, it's heavy stuff.
When you consider those experiences,
Yeah.
it makes you wonder how they might have shaped his personality.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, could his desire to comfort others, especially in their time of grief,
Right.
have been a way of coping with his own trauma?
Yeah.
Was it genuine compassion?
Right.
Or was it perhaps a way of seeking validation and acceptance?
It's such an interesting angle.
Yeah.
It's like he found solace and purpose
Mm-hmm.
in helping others through their darkest moments.
Right.
Almost as if he is trying to make up for the darkness he experienced himself.
It's certainly a possibility.
Yeah.
Trauma can manifest in so many ways.
Right.
And sometimes it drives people to seek out roles where they can be the caregiver,
Mm-hmm.
the one who brings order and solace to chaos.
Okay, so we have this complex character
Yes.
shaped by a difficult past,
Mm-hmm.
and then he enters this unique world of small-town Texas,
Right.
specifically Carthage.
Ah, Carthage.
Oh,
The sources paint such a vivid picture.
yeah.
A town where oil and gas wealth meets that old-fashioned Southern charm.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like a microcosm of Southern Gothic literature,
Oh,
you know, with its undercurrents of darkness and secrets lurking beneath the surface of polite society.
I love that you brought up Southern Gothic.
Oh, yeah.
For those unfamiliar.
Mm-hmm.
It's a genre that often explores the darker aspects of Southern culture,
Right.
like decay, hypocrisy, and social anxieties.
Yes.
Think Faulkner, Flannery O'Connor,
Oh, yeah.
those kinds of vibes.
Yeah.
And you can totally see how Bernie's story fits into that mold.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that setting that unique social environment
Mhm.
plays a crucial role in how the story unfolds.
Right.
Small towns have this way of amplifying everything,
Oh, for sure.
don't they?
Yeah.
Whispers turn into rumors,
Mm-hmm.
judgments become amplified,
Right.
everyone knows everyone's business.
It's like a pressure cooker
Yeah.
of social dynamics.
Yes.
And into this pressure cooker walks Bernie,
Bernie.
this charming funeral director who seemingly wins over everyone.
Right.
But then enter Marjorie Nugent,
Okay.
the wealthy widow,
Yes.
who, according to the sources,
Mm-hmm.
wasn't exactly known for her warm and fuzzy personality.
Cantankerous is the word that comes up a lot. She was known for being demanding,
Right.
difficult,
Mm-hmm.
and some might even say controlling.
So when she and Bernie strike up this unlikely friendship,
Oh, yeah.
you can bet the town gossips had a field day.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like the ultimate opposites attract scenario,
Totally.
but with a healthy dose of small-town suspicion thrown in.
Yes.
What did people really think about this odd pairing?
Yeah.
Were they genuinely concerned?
Right.
Or was it just good old-fashioned gossip?
I think it was probably a mix of both.
Okay.
You know, small towns thrive on speculation.
Yeah.
But there's also a genuine concern for people's well-being,
Right.
especially when there's a perceived power imbalance.
Okay.
You know, Marjorie was older,
Uh-huh.
wealthy,
Mhm.
set in her ways, while Bernie was younger,
Yeah.
charismatic,
Oh,
and
yeah.
suddenly spending a lot of time with her.
Yeah.
So it's natural for people to wonder about his motives.
Okay, but what specifically did Bernie Dio that made him so indispensable to Marjorie?
Mm-hmm.
Sources mention that he went above and beyond
Yeah.
the typical funeral director duties.
He really did.
Yeah.
He was known for his meticulous attention to detail, his ability to comfort grieving families, and his willingness to go the extra mile.
Yeah.
But with Marjorie, it went further.
Okay.
He started managing her finances,
Wow.
running errands,
Uh-huh.
even accompanying her on trips.
So it wasn't just about funerals anymore.
Right.
He became deeply ingrained in her life.
He did.
Almost like well, I hesitate to say companion because that word has so many loaded connotations.
Right.
But he certainly filled a void in her life, wouldn't you say?
I think that's a fair assessment.
Okay.
He provided companionship, emotional support, and practical assistance.
Yep.
All things that someone in Marjorie's position might have desperately needed.
Right.
But the question remains, was it purely altruistic?
Right.
Or was there a more calculated element at play?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And as their relationship deepens, the whispers in Carthage intensify,
Right.
setting the stage for a shocking turn of events.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll get to that in a bit. First, let's dig a little deeper into the dynamics of their relationship and what made it so fascinating
Yeah.
and maybe even unsettling to those around them.
I think that's a great place to pick up.
Okay.
Because understanding the psychology of their relationship, the potential power dynamics and motivations is key to unraveling the mystery of what happened next.
All right.
Okay? It's like watching a slow-motion train wreck.
Yeah.
You see the warning signs. You hear the whispers.
Right.
But you can't look away.
It's true.
Yeah.
There's this morbid fascination with watching things unfold, especially when there's an air of mystery and potential scandal.
Oh, yeah.
And remember, this is pre-internet,
right.
pre-social media.
Exactly.
The town square was the original source of breaking news.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And in a place like Carthage, news traveled fast.
Right.
So when Marjorie Nugent disappears in 1996, it doesn't take long for suspicions to arise.
Months go by with no sign of her.
Right.
The whispers turn into frantic questions.
Of course.
Where is Marjorie?
Yeah.
What happened to her?
Exactly.
And then the discovery.
Oh, yeah.
A chilling revelation.
Chilling.
Marjorie's body hidden in a freezer.
Wow.
In her own home.
In her home.
Shot 4 times in the back.
Oh, my goodness.
It's the kind of detail that sends shivers down your spine.
Yeah.
And suddenly those whispers about Bernie's motives take on a whole new meaning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The charming, devoted companion becomes the prime suspect, and he confesses to the crime.
But it's the why that becomes the central question of the case.
Oh, for sure.
Because he doesn't claim it was a premeditated act, right? He paints a very different picture.
Right.
Yeah.
Bernie insists that he acted in a moment of desperation, pushed to the brink by years of emotional abuse at the hands of Marjorie. He claims she was controlling, manipulative, and even cruel.
So the man who was seemingly everyone's friend, the caregiver, is now claiming to be a victim himself.
It's a complete reversal of roles.
Yeah, it is.
And it forces everyone to reevaluate everything they thought they knew about Bernie and Marjorie. But it also raises important questions about confessions in general.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
How reliable are they?
Yeah.
Are they always an admission of guilt?
Great.
Or can they be influenced by stress, coercion, or even a desire to protect someone else?
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
A confession isn't always a slam dunk.
Right.
And in Bernie's case, it became the catalyst for a trial that would captivate the nation.
Because it wasn't just about determining guilt or innocence.
Right.
It was about 2 competing narratives.
Yeah.
2 very different versions of the truth.
Right. The prosecution presented Bernie as a cunning manipulator.
Right.
Who ingratiated himself into Marjorie's life with the sole intention of inheriting her fortune. They pointed to his control over her finances.
Right.
The methodical way he concealed the body. And his seemingly calm demeanor after the crime.
Yeah, very calculated.
Yeah.
And then you have the defense portraying Bernie as this kind soul.
Okay.
Trapped in a toxic relationship. Wow. Driven to a desperate act by Marjorie's relentless abuse.
Right.
They argued that he snapped under the pressure.
Yeah.
That it was a crime of passion.
Okay.
Not cold-blooded murder.
It's like a classic courtroom drama.
Right.
Where each side presents their case. using evidence and testimony to sway the jury.
Yes.
But it also taps into something deeper, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This case resonated with people because it touched on these universal themes, the allure of wealth, the complexities of relationships, and the blurred lines between kindness and manipulation. It forced people to confront uncomfortable questions about human nature.
And let's not forget the setting.
Oh, yeah.
That small-town backdrop where everyone knows everyone else's business.
Right.
It adds another layer of intrigue.
It does.
And complexity to the story.
Because in a close-knit community, the stakes are higher, the judgments are harsher, and the consequences of transgression are far more profound.
So we have this captivating trial that unfolds in the national spotlight. But the story doesn't end there.
No, it doesn't.
Enter Hollywood.
Ah, yes.
The Bernie Tiede story takes an even more unexpected turn.
Right.
When filmmaker Richard Linklater decides to turn this real-life tragedy into a dark comedy.
A dark comedy.
Which seems like a bold choice, to say the least.
Very bold.
We're talking about murder, betrayal, and a whole lot of small-town drama. What made Linklater think? Yeah, this would make a great comedy.
It's a fascinating question. And I think it speaks to our enduring fascination with true crime. Especially when it involves characters who defy easy categorization. Bernie Tiede was both beloved and reviled. A man capable of great kindness and a shocking act of violence.
He's a walking contradiction.
He was.
And that's probably what drew Linklater to the story.
Probably.
It wasn't a clear-cut case of good versus evil.
No.
There were shades of gray. And those shades of gray lend themselves well to dark humor.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And by choosing to tell this story as a dark comedy, Linklater challenged audiences to confront those uncomfortable truths about human nature. He forced them to question their assumptions and grapple with the ambiguity of it all.
And let's not forget the casting.
Oh, yeah.
Jack Black, known for his comedic roles, playing Bernie Tiede.
Wow.
It seems counterintuitive.
It does.
But it somehow works.
It does.
And that's a testament to both Linklater's vision and Black's talent.
He managed to capture both Bernie's charm and the underlying darkness, leaving audiences to grapple with the complexities of his character.
So you had this real-life case that captures the nation's attention. And then a film that reinterprets that story through the lens of dark humor, further blurring the lines between truth, fiction, and perception.
It's almost like the Bernie Tiede saga became a cultural phenomenon. A story that transcended the boundaries of the courtroom and the movie screen.
And that's what makes it so fascinating to unpack.
It is.
It's not just a crime story. It's a commentary on how we perceive people. How we construct narratives and how even the most shocking acts can be open to interpretation.
It's a story that forces us to question everything. And that's exactly what a good deep dive should do, wouldn't you say? It really is. And I think the Bernie Tiede case offers like a masterclass in that, questioning everything. Because when you peel back the layers, you're left with more questions than answers. Was he a master manipulator? A victim of circumstance? Or a complex mix of both? Did the movie humanize him too much? Or did it simply reflect the ambiguity of real life?
It's a tricky thing, isn't it?
It is.
Because on the one hand, we have the facts of the case, the trial, the conviction, but then we have these competing narratives, these glimpses into Bernie's past and the dynamics of his relationship with Marjorie that complicate the picture.
And that's where it gets really interesting, because the more we learn, the more we realize that people are rarely all good or all bad. We all have our complexities, our contradictions, our hidden motivations. And sometimes those motivations are shaped by experiences we may never fully understand.
I keep coming back to the source material that mentioned Bernie's difficult childhood, the loss of his parents, the alleged abuse. It makes you wonder how much those early experiences contributed to his later actions. Was it a direct link or just one piece of a much larger puzzle?
It's impossible to say for sure, but I think it's worth considering. Trauma can have a profound impact on how we interact with the world, how we form relationships, and how we cope with stress.
And wouldn't you say that Carthage itself, that pressure cooker environment of small-town life also played a role.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Small towns have their own unique set of rules and expectations. Yeah. There's a sense of conformity, a pressure to maintain appearances.
Yeah.
And when someone deviates from the norm, especially in a way that challenges those expectations, it can create a ripple effect throughout the community.
It's like Bernie, with his charm and generosity, became this larger-than-life character in Carthage.
Right.
He was the funeral director who went above and beyond, the guy everyone loved.
But then, when the truth about Marjorie's death came out, it shattered that carefully constructed image.
And it forced people to reconcile the Bernie they thought they knew with the Bernie who was capable of committing such a shocking act.
It challenged their beliefs about good and evil, about who to trust, about the very nature of their community.
So what does it all mean? After all the evidence, the trial, the movie, the public fascination, what can we learn from the Bernie Tiede case?
I think the most important takeaway is that there are no easy answers.
Okay.
Human behavior is complex. Motivations are often hidden, and truth can be subjective.
It's like a giant puzzle where we have some of the pieces, but we may never have the complete picture.
Exactly. And that's okay. Sometimes embracing the mystery, acknowledging the gray areas, and accepting that we may never fully understand someone's actions is the most honest approach.
So for you listening, we've taken you deep into the world of Bernie Tiede.
We have.
From his troubled beginnings to his complex relationship with Marjorie Nugent.
Yes.
The shocking crime that shook a small town. And the film that brought his story to a wider audience. We've explored the psychology, the legal battles, the ethical dilemmas, and the enduring power of a narrative that continues to fascinate and confound us.
We've unpacked the facts, analyzed the motivations, and considered the impact of this case on both individuals and the community as a whole. But ultimately, the Bernie Tiede saga is a story that defies easy categorization.
Yeah, it really does.
It's a story that forces us to question our assumptions, confront uncomfortable truths, and acknowledge the complexities of human nature.
And that, I believe, is the real power of this deep dive.
I think so.
It's not about finding definitive answers.
No.
It's about embracing the questions, the ambiguities, and the enduring mystery of a case that continues to resonate. What sticks with me is this. We know Bernie alleged abuse.
But
what if he hadn't? Would his life have unfolded differently?
Interesting.
Would he have still ended up on this path?
It makes you wonder.
It makes you wonder about the ripple effects of our experiences. Both good and bad. And how they shape the course of our lives. Something to ponder, isn't it?
It is.
The Bernie Tiede case, a tale of small-town secrets, big-time consequences, and the enduring human capacity for both darkness and light.